So I honestly feel like this happens after every single Pokemon Go Fest, but my excitement for the game has definitely increased, and I have been feeling a lot more motivated to play Pokemon Go. And I'll talk about why in this video. Let's get right into it. Alright y'all, what's happening everyone? Jinsula here with a brand new Pokemon Go video. I hope your day is going really well, and let's get right into it. So Pokemon Go Fest has come and gone, and I will say that this year's Pokemon Go Fest was actually pretty good. I know a lot of players were complaining that the shiny rates were incredibly low, and I will say that the shiny rates were actually much lower than previous Go Fests, but I still felt like it was a good time, mainly because of Zacian and Zamazenta getting their crown forms was definitely really exciting, but it really came down to the introduction of one item, and that is bottle caps. I feel like bottle caps definitely created a lot of buzz around Pokemon Go. It was something that a lot of players have been wanting for several years, and now that players were finally able to get it, it definitely drove a lot of players to get really excited about Pokemon Go Fest this year. And it's mainly because they wanted to complete that special research, or actually it was a Go Pass, the Ancients Recovered Go Pass. And in order to complete it, you needed to go all out during Global Go Fest weekend. I certainly did. I was able to get my bottle cap pretty early on, and I was able to use it almost right away. This is the Pokemon that I used it on. It is this Crowned Sword Zacian, a shiny one with the location card. It does have decent IVs, of course, since I got it from a raid, but there's definitely going to be a lot of work that will go into making this a Shundo. But I'm really excited about it. I think the introduction of bottle caps has definitely changed the game for the better. And it's primarily why I feel so motivated to play Pokemon Go after Go Fest. I do think that in past Go Fests, the reason why I would get motivated is because I would come out with some really cool Pokemon. Like last year's Go Fest, it was a Shundo Necrozma. Because I got that Pokemon, I was definitely motivated to play. I would go out and farm Stardust, I would try to get it to best buddies as soon as possible. But now it feels a little bit different. I feel like my excitement and my motivation to play Pokemon Go is centered around getting this hyper training done. And you can see right here, I have some pretty decent progress. I've walked to get 2 candies, which is actually quite a lot. I've been using Poffins pretty much every single day, and of course, I'm going after Team Go Rocket, and that's primarily because those are the tasks that are given to me for this hyper training. Yeah, hyper training has definitely caused me to want to play Pokemon Go way more than I usually do. Whether it be because I want to check for Team Go Rocket battles so that I could complete the hyper research, or what is it, the hyper training tasks, or if it's because I want to go out for a walk to collect more candies. There's just a lot that I feel like is going for Pokemon Go. Usually it comes down to spawns, usually it comes down to raid bosses, whether or not players are going to go out and play. But now that they have added hyper training, there is definitely a new element to Pokemon Go where players are going to go out and play to complete those hyper training tasks. So yeah, overall I will say that hyper training is definitely one of the biggest things that has come to Pokemon Go. If it wasn't for hyper training, I feel like the buzz would have died down quite a bit, and players would be focusing on complaining about the shiny rates for Go Fest and considering it a huge failure. But I'm not really seeing as much of that talk as I thought I would. I think a lot of players did enjoy Pokemon Go Fest this year. I think getting both Crown Form Zacian and Zamazenta was definitely something that was a major highlight. And then for a lot of players, they were lucky enough to get location cards and special cards. These are something that I feel like a lot of players did not necessarily think would make a big impact, but I actually do think that these special backgrounds are really special. I do think they add a little element of I got lucky when it comes to Go Fests and Go Tours and Wild Area event. Like, people are really excited when they get these special backgrounds. I mean, for me, getting a special background Zacian shiny from Jersey City, that was pretty cool. And I definitely knew that this would be one that I would use a bottle cap on, and surely enough, I did. But this past Go Fest weekend, I picked up this special background Zamazenta. Again, I was super hyped about that. I was really excited. This was one of my wishlist items for this past Go Fest, and because I was lucky enough to get it, now I have something where if I were to get a second bottle cap, I have a Pokemon to use it on. I think getting both a Shundo Zacian with a special background and a Shundo Zamazenta with a special background, that is definitely really cool. And it has definitely motivated me to keep playing Pokemon Go. I want to farm up the Stardust. You can see right here, my Stardust count is at 440,000 Stardust. That's probably the lowest amount of Stardust that I've had in, I want to say, about 2 years. So there's definitely a bit of motivation there to go out and grind catching Pokemon. I want to get as much Stardust back as I possibly can. I don't even know where most of the Stardust went. I think it went to just powering up my Zacian and Zamazenta that I recently got. And then of course, I think I also got a 100% IV. Yeah, you could scroll through all of my high IV shinies. Yeah, this one. This is actually one that I picked up from Jersey City. And again, it's something that I was really hyped about getting. And I powered it up fully to the max, unlocked the second charge move and all that stuff. And I would like to get it to Best Buddies eventually, but I just feel like this year's Go Fest was just really cool. I got some really good stuff. And I totally recognize that a lot of people's excitement, a lot of people's experiences with stuff like Go Fest is going to be dependent on how lucky they are. Even though we have a lot less luck that is necessary to get the things that we want thanks to bottle caps, I still feel like players are solely going to experience positive things if they were to get, well, I can't really talk today. Yeah, if they're getting hundos and shundos and high IV shinies, different things like that, that's what's going to drive them to feel really excited about Pokemon Go. Totally recognize that. Some players do not necessarily care about IVs. All they care about is getting shinies. Even shinies. It was a lot of raids that I had to do to get these 2 shinies. There was definitely a lot of luck involved in just picking up shinies alone. I was super lucky to get myself this, but I know a lot of players were not even able to get even 1 shiny, let alone a shiny with a special background. So yeah, I think that's kind of unfortunate. It's an unfortunate reality of Pokemon Go. I think it's a very much a luck-based game, even though they added bottle caps and now you can kind of control what Pokemon you can have as a hundo. It still is a luck-based game. And I think because of that, player frustrations are definitely going to be there. Players are going to definitely experience positives and negatives, and it's all dependent on how lucky they are. I don't know what necessarily they could do to fix that. I don't know what they could do to mitigate that. Maybe they could add some bad luck protection. This is something I've suggested in the past, where if you do not get a shiny after however many raids, you're almost guaranteed a shiny on the next one. I think that would work really well for Pokemon Go. Let's say you've done 50 Zacian raids and you did not get a shiny. Well, the 51st raid is going to give you a much higher chance of it being a shiny. And if that one's not a shiny, increase the rate even more until eventually you get one pretty much guaranteed. I think that system would work really well for Pokemon Go. Who knows, maybe they will do something like that. I do know that with the introduction of bottle caps, they do run the risk that players are not necessarily going to raid as much as they used to, but I don't know. I still feel like people are still going to raid. People are still going to want to get high IV shinies. People are still going to want to get shinies. And in order to get those, you still have to play ball. You still have to roll the dice. And yeah, it's pretty rough. But yeah, overall, I will say that Pokemon Go is in a much better place. I do feel much more excited and a lot more motivated to play. It really comes down to hyper training. I do think that hyper training is probably one of the best things to happen to Pokemon Go, and I'm looking forward to them adding more bottle caps in the game. I do think they're going to trickle it down. We did get the announcement just now that the July Go Pass has just hit the shop, and if you look at the Go Pass, well, it's actually still June, but the July Go Pass is pretty much the same as the June one. It's going to give you a lucky trinket with a Zapdos. That's pretty much it. So it looks like we're not going to be getting a second bottle cap anytime soon. Maybe that's going to be okay. I do think that bottle caps need to have some semblance of rarity. But overall, I do feel like bottle caps are quite essential to getting players engaged in Pokemon Go. At least that's my personal opinion. So yeah, there you have it. These are just some of my thoughts. This is kind of like my debrief video from Pokemon Go Fest. I do think the game is much better than it was even just a year ago. And maybe some players out there will disagree, but I think the introduction of bottle caps has definitely made the game much better than it currently was. And I do think that with the introduction of Zacian and Zamazenta's crown forms, there's just a lot more with this game that you can get excited about. So yeah, that's just pretty much it. Yeah, let me know your thoughts regarding everything that I talked about down below. Do you agree or disagree that bottle caps have essentially made the game much better? Do you feel like Pokemon Go Fest this year was a huge success, or do you feel like it was a huge failure? Definitely share your thoughts in the comments and let's have a great discussion. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it. Thank you so much for making it all the way to the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget the notification bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And real quick, let me give a shout out to all of my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Jinsula channel, the best way you can do that is going to be by joining my Patreon. And if you become a paid Patreon member, I'm going to add you to my Pokemon Go friends list. That means for stuff like remote raids and the friendship system, if you want to play Pokemon Go with me, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. And if you want to support my channel in a completely different way, you can do so by following me on social media. My handle is @Jinsula. I'm on the platforms you see on the bottom of your screen. Make sure you go over there and give me a follow, and you'll have access to some exclusive content, and you'll be able to keep up with my daily life. With all that said, that's going to be it for this video. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself today, and I'll catch you all later.
Jinsula.